we're taking a look at the results from the first printout for the U.S. Representative District 1, Charles Djou, with 97% of the votes over his closest opponents. Colleen Hanabusa for the Democratic primary with about 84% of the votes. And joining us right now, we have Charles Djou, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me on.
Now, you just came back.
Yes, a little earlier this year from serving overseas, yes. And,
so you haven't had a whole lot of time to get ready for this primary?
No, but I've been very fortunate to get a whole lot of support from average folks here around Oahu in the 1st Congressional District. And now the general election begins first thing tomorrow morning, and I look forward to bringing our message of that we really need to change the direction of our country, that Congress isn't working, that we need a more bipartisan approach, and we need a more responsible management of the future of our country. And that right now, unfortunately, I think our country is headed in the wrong direction, and what we're doing is we're not caring enough for the next generation.
What's going to be different this time around, because it's basically a rematch between you and Colleen Hanabusa? What do you think is going to be different in the campaigning and your approach to trying to get that seat back?
Well, it is a rematch, but there are, I think, a number of dynamics that make this race a little bit different. To begin with, the district is redistricted, so it's a little bit different in that Kapolei and Mililani Mauka, areas which I look forward to being very strong and competitive in, are now in the part of the district. And also, you know what, Paula, this is the first time Hawaii has ever had a current and former member of Congress running against one another. This is the closest thing you're going to get to an incumbent versus an incumbent match for the U.S. House of Representatives. And I look forward to comparing my record of working to make sure that I work with both sides of the aisle to make sure we actually find solutions instead of just pointing out problems. For me, it's important to do things like I was very honored to have worked with former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords on the Truth in Spending bill to advance things that make sense, not because it's good for your party, but because it's good for your community and it's good for your country.
The last time around, and I asked this of Ms. Hanabusa as well, the last time around there was a strong surge for President Obama, and there was a big change that much of the country was looking for. This time, struggling a bit, not so much in Hawaii, but struggling a bit, and with our economy still struggling nationwide. Do you think that helps in your campaign?
Well, certainly, of course, I have an enormous amount of respect for President Obama. I think anybody who's from Hawaii really finds a little bit of sense of pride that we have somebody local in the White House. But I think the major, if there's a top-of-the-ticket race that people are going to be looking and paying attention to, November 6th election is going to be the race for the United States Senate. I think Governor Lingle did an outstanding job as governor of Hawaii. She has the right sort of practical, common-sense leadership that I look forward to collaborating and working with her on towards.
What will you be doing different this time around? Like starting off tomorrow, anything different in your campaigning style or?
Well, I think the biggest difference for me, honestly, Paula, is that the reality is that war changes you. I don't think I'm the same person today that I was before I went to war. I saw the very best as well as the very worst of humanity. And for me, I've been able to really focus in on what's important. And for me, it's not being a politician. It's being a husband and a dad, and that's the most important thing to me. And when I look around, I'm very concerned that what our Congress is doing today, spending all of this money and mortgaging our children's future, isn't right. And I look forward to working very hard to make sure we bring that message to the voters of Hawaii.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Charles Djou.
Thank you for having me
and
here.
we'll be watching you as we head to the general election.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.